moving on to the big topic. Was that loud enough for you?
Dumb.
All right,
No.
so I had this plan to talk about Virtual Console. That's not going to happen because someone leaked this image, and you're not going to see it. Sorry, but you can go look it up. Though it'll be linked there. This is supposedly Nintendo's E3 showroom rundown for both their, I think it's for both their video presentation, their Nintendo Direct, as well as their Treehouse event that'll happen afterward. Now, we don't know that this is real. In fact, there's at least one item on here that I'm convinced isn't, and it's the name of Yoshi's Flipping Island. I just don't see that being reality, even though it adequately describes the game, because you've got that flipping mechanic that was very similar to Super Paper Mario. I just don't see Nintendo being like, that's a good idea. Let's do that.
I wasn't sure what you were talking about at first, but then I got it. It's like
Yoshi's Flipping Island, man.
Yeah, it's Flipping Island. Flipping. Yeah, I don't see Nintendo. To be fair, ever since Satoru Iwata passed away, may he rest in peace, Nintendo has kind of been on this. They've been getting a lot of young blood moving up in the company. In fact, when the interim president stepped down recently, that was the reason that he cited, was that he wants someone younger who better understands the industry to run the company. And calling a game Yoshi's Flipping Island is definitely a young person kind of a thing to do. So maybe, but I don't see it. I mean, even though there's young people running the company, you still have Shigeru Miyamoto there. You still have Aonuma there. You still have Koji Kondo there. And even though they don't run the place, they've been there from the beginning, at least from the beginning of the video game era. I don't see the three of them and the other people who have been there a while going along with that without putting up a fight. But anyway, enough about that. Let's just start at the top. And unfortunately, it's very small on my screen because I'm on my laptop. So we got this intro trailer. It's a clip with Dragon Ball Z Fighter, FIFA 2019, NBA 2K19, the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, Octopath Traveler, and Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus. Now, Crash Bandicoot, Octopath Traveler, Wolfenstein 2, these are all things that we know about. These have already been announced. In fact, Nintendo's been pushing that Octopath Traveler really hard lately. Wolfenstein 2, Bethesda announced that was coming because the game's already out on everything else, right?
Yeah.
And they announced at the time that it was coming to Switch later. But Dragon Ball Z, this is the first we're hearing of this, if this is real. The FIFA and the NBA 2K, even though I'm not aware of them having been announced, the previous versions of those games were on Switch, so this isn't like surprising that they would come to Switch. But the Dragon Ball Z Fighter, this is interesting. What do you guys think? Is it real? Do you think it'll happen?
I mean, it's possible. I don't know how that would work, though. I mean, like, because to me, I mean, I will readily admit I'm not good at fighting games. The exception kind of being Smash Bros. But
yeah,
to me, like, to play a fighting game, you need a decent sized controller. Like, even like this, to me, is a little small and not quite it. Like, you almost need like one of those big like
fight sticks.
Fight sticks almost, you know, to really be able to do it, you know. So to me, like, oh yeah, let's go play Dragon Ball with this and be like,
yeah,
like trying to do that. Like, it seems iffy, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Speaking of that, and I'll get to you, Ned and Assad, here in a second, but I saw a trailer today for some Namco game that's coming out for Switch, and I now want to go back and watch other Switch announcement trailers because this is something I hadn't noticed. But every time in this trailer for this game, and I don't even remember what the game was, it was like some little kid game that I ultimately wound up not caring about. I only originally started watching it because I thought the characters in it looked like Mii's, And so I was like, oh, maybe the Mii's not going to die, but it turns out that it wasn't. Anyway, every time that in the trailer that they would pull up the Joy-Con off of the Switch and start playing it, they never put on the little adapter thing that makes it so that the L and R buttons are more easily accessible, but they're still using the L and R buttons. And I'm like, no one plays like that.
Not when you're using them on their own. I mean, like
no, like I could see,
because I have large hands, as you guys probably know. Like, so I cannot actually play like this. It is not possible.
It's just, it's not going to happen.
I was playing Mario Kart with my buddy at his house, and he was like whooping me it, and he's like, I thought you're good at this. I'm like, yeah, let me use a different controller. Let's try that out. And then I stomped him.
Came back,
but
right.
But it was
so
like,
it made me wonder, like, is this a thing that Nintendo has with their trailers, that you have to show someone going from the Switch being in handheld mode to being some other way as quickly as possible? And so having to put that thing on is just one. And honestly, it doesn't take that long if you already know where they are. I mean, occasionally I'm like, where did I put that thing? And
I was just looking, I'm like, where are mine? Somewhere.
But so I was just, it made me wonder, like, I want to go back and watch other trailers and see if that's something they do. Anyway, okay, Ned, Dragon Ball Z, Switch. What do you think the odds are?
I think with the Pro controller, it's something that could easily be played, but it's not something I would try to play with the Joy-Cons.
Oh, no.
That said, if they can come up with some kind of crazy system with like motion controls that makes it some kind of fun gimmick, I wouldn't be surprised.
That would be cool. Like the Kamehameha, you got to like go to the side like this and then do that. Yeah. That would be legit.
That would be awesome.
I'd buy it just for that. But
and I feel like with the Joy-Con, it would actually work because the motion controls are so good in these things. Yeah. So that'd be pretty tight. All right, Assad, what do you think?
Now, to my knowledge, they haven't really released like a big fighting game on the Switch yet. Is that accurate?
I mean, there was that little Street Fighter 2 HD that came out at launch, but I think, there might even be like Neo, because there's a bunch of Neo Geo games on it. But if you're talking, if you're talking about like a really big game like Soul Calibur or Tekken or Mortal Kombat, no, that Smash Brothers was going to be the first and closest thing to that that we had seen. So,
well, see, my thought on this is, since they don't really have a lot of big fighting games on there, people who own a Switch would probably get this game so they have their fighting game fix on the Switch. I mean, for one thing, it's going to be portable, so you can take that with you and work on it. And it's wouldn't be so small when it's actually connected to like the tablet part. But also, with it being like the only one, people are going to be more likely to focus on that, and that in turn will probably open the door for other ones that come in. It's like, hey, this game was pretty well received. Let's try to get our title in the door on that, and then in that way, it's going to expand the available titles for the Switch.
Yeah, see, I think so first of all, the game is developed with the Unreal Engine, and Unreal has been optimized very well with the Switch to be easy to port things over. So it's pretty easy. Now, I don't think it'll be as easy as File, Save As, Switch, or anything like that. But I think because it's made in Unreal, that definitely makes it more likely. But another reason, this game is developed by Bandai Namco, who helped with development of Smash Wii U /3DS. They're also one of the head developers on Smash for Switch. And if you read down this list, and actually I'm pretty sure this had been confirmed outside of this list, so I'm comfortable saying Bandai Namco is developing Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah.
So they have a really, really, really good relationship with Nintendo. Actually, it seems like these days, everyone except Electronic Arts and maybe Activision has a really good relationship with it. Like, even Bethesda is like, yeah, sure, we'll just throw all our games on there. We don't care.
Oh, he's making a lot of money, and we can just shoot Skyrim at that and make more money. Let's do that.
Exactly.
Why not? Yeah. And then next year we'll put Oblivion on it, and then Morrowind, and then I don't actually know the names of them before that, but
I used to know.
Daggerfall.
There we go. I'm like
Sure. There you
Daggerfall
go.
and is it like Arcade
then-
or something?
Arena.
Or there we go. Okay.
Yeah. So and then and we'll get to another Bethesda game further down this list, but we won't go to it yet. Yeah. So I actually think, and I hope that if they do it, that it goes really well, because I'm a huge Soul Calibur fan, and
Yes.
the best Soul Calibur game in the series is Soul Calibur 2. The
On
best
the GameCube.
version of that game is the GameCube
GameCube.
version
Yes.
with Link
Because
in it.
Link.
Yes. And so I hope that if this Dragon Ball thing goes well, and Soul Calibur 2, the PlayStation version and the Xbox version got brought to their respective, I don't know if it was Xbox One and PS4, it might have been 360 and PS3, but they did get like upported. And the GameCube version, which, and I went and checked this, the GameCube version outsold the PlayStation 2 version and the Xbox version combined.
So much.
And and the PS2 there's like 150 million of those things out there, and there's maybe 25 million GameCubes in the world. So that should tell you something.
It's funny. I just
so, yeah.
remembered. Sorry, not to.
No, go ahead.
Like talking about like the fighting games. I haven't played it, but I know Pokken, like DX came out.
And that's also a Bandai Namco game.
Yeah. So I just
Why do
want
you
to mention that like there was that too. But
Right. Why do you keep sighing, Assad? What's the deal?
He mentioned Pokken.
you know, like it.
It's such a weird game.
It is. I played it and I kind of saw what they were going for, and I halfway enjoyed it, and I was like, this is a fun distraction. I'm surprised that there's a competitive scene built around this game. It's so weird.
For sure is. You can play people online with it. Of course, there's a competitive scene.
Yeah. Speaking of weird competitive scenes, and this, I'm going off on a tangent. I heard, so there's a huge speedrunning community around Mario Kart 64. Did y'all know this?
Kind of.
I didn't know this.
I'm not super shocked, but
okay. Well, but here's the thing. And when I say huge speedrunning community, I mean that on the websites that track speedruns, most speedrunning communities are, like they're big, but they're small enough that you can like count pretty well, like how many people are doing it. Like there's 200 people speedrunning Super Metroid or something like that. Right. There's like 5,000 people speedrunning Mario Kart 64. That's substantially bigger than any other game out there. And so the reason why I know about this is because this video popped up in my YouTube feed, explaining that in time trial, because of how the game is set up, there are 32 possible world records, the 3-lap record and the single lap record. And there's one guy that has all of them but 2.
Whoa.
Yeah. And they're both, he doesn't have the 3-lap or the single lap record for the Donkey Kong Jungle Speedway. And he explained that it's because, for one, it's his least favorite track in the whole game. And the reason it's his least favorite track in the whole game is because in order to do a speed run of it effectively, you have to spend a lot of time in the grass. And that adds the random element of the coconuts being thrown at you.
Yeah.
And so there's a little bit of luck involved in it. And also, so he had the single lap record for a while, but he didn't have the 3-lap. He just recently lost the single lap. And the reason he lost the single lap is because just recently someone discovered a way. So everyone here's played Mario Kart 64, right?
Yeah.
Is familiar with
Yeah.
DK Jungle Parkway. Okay. There's that jump with the boost, and everyone knows if you cut to the left really quick, you can cut that jump off. Well, recently there's been a glitch discovered associated with that, but you have to hit the jump like perfect or you blow it. And so that's how he lost the single lap, was someone pulled it off and shaved like milliseconds off of his single lap time or something. So anyway, it was just like, it was amazing to me that there was this huge speedrunning community around Mario Kart 64. I thought it was weird. Yeah. So it's pretty
like put an asterisk on that record or anything, or does it...
So they have in Mario Kart 64, they have what they call oh right, that's also why there's 32 possible. No. Okay, yeah. So you've got shortcut runs, and a shortcut to the speedrunning community is anything that Nintendo did not intend. So the jump in Rainbow Road is a shortcut, but the alternate in the Koopa Troopa Beach, the alternate pathway through the mountain, since that's actually a thing in the game, it's not considered a shortcut run.
Okay.
So that's how they break it up. So that glitch would be a shortcut run.
Okay.
Because you're doing something that the developer did not intend for you to do. But anyway, so that was just a really interesting piece of information. Okay, moving on. So the next thing on here is what is and again, we don't know that this thing is real. So I'm just reading you the titles of the games as they appear on the sheet. What they are calling Super Smash Brothers for Switch, which, to be honest, if that's the name of it, kind of leads me to believe that the game is actually basically Super Smash Brothers for Wii U, but with some slight changes. Right. Yeah.
I mean, there's probably a tentative name for it, though. I mean, I would have, although the rest of these all have funky names, so I don't know. It's hard to say.
Well, see, and I wonder, and I had been wondering this from the beginning, because it seemed like pretty quickly a lot of the big YouTube channels that, like Arlo, and anybody here familiar with Arlo, the puppet that looks like Cookie Monster, kind of?
No.
Okay, well, anyway, he's a Nintendo focused YouTuber. I really like him. He's fun. He pretty quickly was like, no, this is a new Smash Brothers game. It's not Smash Brothers for Wii U. But my thing was, well, Smash Brothers for Wii U was, first of all, stuck on the Wii U. So not nearly enough people really got to enjoy that. If they kind of make Smash Brothers for Switch a port, would they not then avoid having to go back to Square Enix and being like, hey, we want Cloud again? He'll just be there because it's the Wii U version and he's already licensed for that. You know, and avoid having to go pick up Mega Man again. And I mean, I feel like at this point Sega is all in, so I don't think we have to worry about Sonic ever not being in another Smash Brothers game. But some of these other and of course with Namco, Bandai Namco, I keep saying it backwards because it used to be the other way. Bandai Namco being the developer, I don't think we have to worry about Pac-Man not being in there, or who are the other Bandai Namco characters in it?
You know what I'm excited for, though? That I don't even know if it's going to be a thing that I'm hoping for. So you guys know, like, obviously, Dark Souls Remastered.
Oh, no. I think
yeah. You know where this is going.
Yeah.
And they released a Solaire amiibo.
Oh, yeah. That's doing
that sold out instantly, and I was very sad.
Well, of course it did. Yeah, of course it did.
Obviously it did. Which I found out what it does is you like use it, and it just instantly makes you do the Praise the Sun, and that's all it does. That's all it does. I realized at the same time I still want it because I want a little tiny Solaire that I can display on my desk. But I would love it if they made Solaire like a character in Smash Bros for Switch.
I think it would be awesome if, like, you're in the middle of a Smash Brothers match and you tap the Solaire on there,
or the assist thing, like an assist trophy.
And then all of your opponents immediately lose control of themselves and do the Praise the Sun so that you can go kick them. That'd be awesome.
That's fantastic.
Like, I mean, honestly, actually, probably be more likely as if he was like an assist trophy, because like the whole joke with him is like, you know, in Glorious Cooperation, like that whole thing was part of the joke. So I would think that would be funny. Like, but you know what? That would be funny if like just you hit it and just everyone just has to praise the sun. So you can just
everybody but you. Everybody but you.
That'd be funny. I would like that.
Just make the praise the sun move his taunt.
Yes.
Yes. It would have to be. If it wasn't,
it's
then
his,
I'd be.
it's his taunt in all 4 directions. He just
Yeah.
is the one.
He just praises the sun, looking in different directions.
Yeah. But we already, and I mean, to be fair, we don't know that the Inklings are going to be in it, but I can't imagine.
I feel like
they're
that trailer
not
they
gonna
would kind of
be.
have to be.
Yeah.
If they weren't, there'd be a lot of people upset.
Oh yeah.
Like
It's just be rude at this
it would
point.
be. It's like, oh yeah, we have the Inklings in there. Look at this, it's so cool. They're not actually in the game though, but you know we're gonna put them on there to.
Mhm. So real quick, and I'm eventually going to do an entire episode built around this, but since we're talking about Smash Brothers, I want to go ahead. And I know Ned, your interest in Smash Brothers is probably not nearly as high as the rest of us because you're not the Nintendo guy. But if you were, I want you to come up real quick. Well, and actually, I'm going to tell you what I want, and I'm going to let you think about it because I'm sure Nolan and Assad will be able to come with. So, what I want from all of us is a character that we want to see in the game that isn't already just a known quantity, and okay, and a prediction of a character. So the character that you want and the character that you're predicting are not necessarily the same thing. So Nolan, you already have the character that you want.
I mean, that would
come
be
up
really
come up with a
cool.
prediction.
I doubt it would actually happen though.
Right. Come up with a prediction. One character.
You know what? I'm gonna go Shovel Knight. Honestly,
there you go.
I would say Shovel Knight. What I would imagine would be on here just because of like how huge that's been, and you know how. I think the last DLC just dropped like a little bit ago, like where you can play as teammates.
Yeah, it did. Yep.
So I think just based on that I think, or you know, even though he would be very similar to other characters in a way like that, but I think that would be a very easy way to get a lot of people hyped up for this. Is if Shovel Knight was in there. As for like, I guess that's more what I'm hoping for. I know Solaire's not going to be in the game.
Yeah.
But I would say that would be like my hope for. Prediction though. I don't know.
Wait, was Shovel Knight not your prediction?
Shovel Knight is my hope for. I don't.
Oh, okay. So you're not.
Solaire's not going to be in the game. I know this.
Yeah. All right.
I'm like, I guess what I'm hoping for would be like can't think of it. Like would be as if like what was it?
Do you need to think about it?
Yeah, I got.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of
All
like yeah. So come back to me.
Okay.
I'll get
Assad, character you want to see, prediction.
Well, as far as character I'd want to see, which I think a lot of the internet would agree, would be Shantae.
Ooh,
Dude, yeah,
that'd
be a good
I
one.
mean, like Shovel Knight, you know, she's got like a very retro game style, and I think her moveset would fit well in the game. And you know, she's another popular female character, so that's a plus too. I don't know how likely it is. I mean, I don't know if they have like a real good relationship with developer or not, but that's a character I would like to see.
It's Way Forward that develops those, right? I feel like they do because I want to say the Shantae games got their start on DS or 3DS.
That sounds right.
But all the games have they've been on Wii. They've been on Wii.
Like Super Nintendo, like the end of Super Nintendo.
Really?
Was like N64 had come out.
Well, they have been in the game for like 20 plus years or something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Hold on, let me see.
All right, well, you look that up, Nolan. All right, so so is that your hopeful Assad or your prediction?
That's my hopeful.
Okay.
For my prediction, my prediction was actually going to be Shovel Knight, you know, and then Nolan started talking about it because I thought he's even a better fit for that.
Well, he's not Nolan's prediction, so he can be your prediction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
okay,
prediction
so
is Shovel Knight.
Shantae was on the Game Boy Color. Sorry, in 2002.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That was a long time
So
ago.
I was
So
right.
graduated
At the
Well,
time period, it's just
So it looked like a Nintendo game. So there you go.
Yeah.
okay.
All right, Nolan, have you figured out your prediction yet? Before I put Ned on the spot.
I thought I had something. I realized that was a Nintendo exclusive, and I don't know how well that would actually work.
What doesn't matter? Go ahead.
I was almost gonna say like is going just out of left field type situation is like your character from Stardew Valley.
Oh yeah.
Like
Oh.
in the way that it's very much like it'd be very similar to like the Villager, I think, but
Yeah.
different enough like moveset. Like, you know, you got a shovel, you're gonna smack someone, which I guess is similar to that, but like, or like, you know, like using the hoe or the scythe, even imagine that, you know, or like,
That
you
would
know,
be cool.
watering and like, you
Okay.
know, you have seeds, so you're like pelting people with seeds, or you put it down, it grows into this big thing that pushes you through the top end of the screen or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
See that happening.
That'd be cool. Yeah,
Like-
I could see that happening. Especially
Yeah.
since the developer for that and Nintendo, I mean, they must have some kind of relationship because multiplayer for Stardew Valley actually came out on Switch before it did anything else.
Yeah.
So, all right, Ned, talk about this game you don't care about.
Okay, so admittedly, the last Super Smash Brothers game I played was Super Smash Brothers Melee for the GameCube.
Arguably the best one, depending on who you
Mhm.
ask. But go ahead.
And so I'll be honest, I'm not familiar with the roster from the latest games, but I do remember I think they added Sonic for the Wii U.
They did.
He was on the Wii
he was
first.
first
Yeah.
on the Wii version. Yeah,
He was
and
also
he's
on the
been
Wii U.
So let's see. As for characters, I'd want to see, but I don't think will be in the game. Well, I tell you a character that I think would make a good addition to the game, and I think is likely is if you've got a Sonic, you have to have a Tails, right?
Ooh,
Yeah,
I can see that.
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's hopeful or prediction.
That would be my prediction. As for hopeful, I'm trying to
Preston
think.
Davis.
Yeah. So,
Sorry.
as for hopeful, you know, Skyrim's on the Switch now. Why not have the
Oh.
Dovahkiin?
Nice.
Oh,
There you go.
that'd be cool.
Just yell
Nice.
people off the side of the stage.
You know,
I could see that. I could
Yep.
so see that.
Dude,
Oh my
that'd be
god.
that'd be a great final smash. That'd be awesome. Okay, now for me. So my prediction, and I'm gonna kind of go with an easy one. I really think they're gonna put the Ice Climbers back in the roster. The
Right.
only reason that they weren't in the Wii U 3DS version was because of technical limitations with the 3DS, and they wanted the 3DS and Wii U version, at least as far as the rosters go, to be identical.
Yeah.
So I think they'll come back for the Switch version. My hope for a character is, so Smash Brothers is notorious about clone characters, especially the Fire Emblems. You got all
Oh
these
my
different
gosh.
Fire Emblem clones.
Was it like
Star
5
Fox has a
on the last
yeah,
one?
it's stupid. It's so stupid. Star Fox has some clone
Fox,
characters.
Falco,
Captain
and
Falcon
Wolf.
and Ganon
Ganondorf.
Dorf have, right. They've all been clone characters. So what I want is clone characters of Sonic, but it's all the terrible like Shadow the Hedgehog and Silver the Hedgehog. And
Oh
just
my
all
god,
the
Silver.
all
That would be
all
amazing.
the awful Sonic clones. And not skin swaps for Sonic,
Like
actual separate characters. I want every time
I
you
want
turn
that
that
taunt. It's no use.
yes,
It's no use.
yes, and every time you go looking at that roster, you have to stare at those mistakes that are there. Yeah. Also, while we're talking about skin swaps, I think Sonic should have a skin swap where he looks like he does in Sonic Boom. 'Cause that would
That's
Yes.
just atrocious. It's just-
Just
he's got that stupid scarf on, and his hands are all tied up, and his legs make him 29 feet tall for some reason.
wasn't the
No,
show
that was
actually pretty well received, or was that?
I heard the show is actually really funny, and I've
That's what
seen
I've heard.
clips
I don't
of
know.
it. It seems like it's very self-aware, like
Mhm.
almost in the same kind of humor that Teen Titans Go has, but not nearly as juvenile.
Okay.
Right.
So,
One
yeah,
of
it's
the couple of episodes of Sonic Boom I caught. One of my favorite things about it was that they made Knuckles an idiot savant. Like one
Oh,
minute
yeah.
he'd say something extremely intelligent, and then would be unable to read.
right.
Yeah,
It's like if
they made him really stupid in the game.
I
Like
Yeah.
left or right, has to put his hands up. L is left. Okay. Like legit. That's an opening thing in the very beginning of the game of Rise
Right.
of Lyric. I'm like, oh my gosh.
it's like if Drax and Tony Stark had a baby.
That's the story.
That's Knuckles from Sonic Boom. All right. Anyway, now that I put that awful picture in everybody's head, let's move on to the next item on the list that we don't know if it's real. Okay, so this is supposedly being developed by Next Level Games. I know I've heard of them. I can't think of
Yes.
anything that they've done off the top of my head.
I'm excited.
But this is supposed to be Punch Out, Become the Champion.
Yeah.
All I know is the title there. So
Punch out.
no idea if it's going to be, like Punch Out for the NES was, or if it's going to be like Punch Out was on the Wii, where you have the boxing motion controls going on. No idea, but that's just a thing that's out there. So someone know off the top of their head other things that Next Level has done? Because I know I've heard this name before.
It sounds familiar, but
Not off the top of my head.
I'm on this cramped laptop screen. If one of y'all look it up?
yeah, I'm looking right now.
While
I'm getting apparel.
Next Level Games mostly works. It's headquartered out of Vancouver, British Columbia. What they've done.
Oops.
Oh, this is why I remember them. They did the port of Ticket to Ride to Xbox Live.
I like
Okay.
Ticket to Ride on Xbox. That's a good game.
Oh, they did
Uh,
Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Super Mario Strikers.
That's
That was cool.
probably why I've heard.
They
of
also
them.
did the
Okay.
stinker that was Metroid Prime Federation Force, though.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, to be fair, I haven't played it. I don't actually know that it's as bad as everybody says it was. It probably is. I just don't know.
Punch Out for the Wii. They also did
Okay,
that.
so they've actually
Yeah.
already got experience with this franchise.
Yeah.
So
Interestingly
That's
enough, they do not list the game that Ned just mentioned.
Which one?
The Federation Force.
Yes.
Yeah, they're
They have a list of games that is not on the list.
It
They're
is
like,
on their Wikipedia page.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Wikipedia. It's on
I went to
there.
their actual website.
Wikipedia. Wikipedia will not let you hide from the atrocities of your past.
Yeah.
All right, so then moving on to the next one, Bandai Namco. It has already been confirmed to be developing this game, but now it looks like it has a name: Metroid Prime Renegade. No other
Yeah, it's
information
not on my
on that.
website.
So
All
is she a renegade from the company she works for now?
So supposedly, in the gameplay footage, we're going to see Samus fighting a renegade Chozo, which is weird because they're supposed to all be dead.
I was gonna say, I'm
So,
like, aren't they?
I don't
dead?
know how that's gonna work, but okay.
It's sci-fi.
That's-
They're going to
That's
be
Metroid.
renegade Chozo that popped themselves
Yeah.
into the pocket dimension for the last millennia, or
So, I mean, that's
Because they're not just old; they're like ancient, weren't they?
Oh yeah, like
the one-
stupid.
The only one
ancient.
you ever see being alive was like in Super Metroid, as that one boss that just came out of
Yeah.
nowhere and like, freaked
Mhm.
everyone out. That would catch
Right,
the super missiles.
because
That
it looks
annoyed
like
me.
because it looks like the statue, and then it
Yeah.
stands up and tries to kill you.
It catches your super missiles and throws them back at you. And it's
Right,
not
like
cool.
a jerk.
Well, stop
It
using them.
is. And that's what I did. I'm like, well, like that must have been a fluke. And then no, just catches your super missiles.
Then after that, we're gonna have a software demo of Splatoon 2, the Octo expansion, which looks pretty cool. This will be the first time that any Splatoon, has received paid downloadable content. Now, I'm fairly certain that this downloadable content is the paid part of it anyway, is only single player. I'm pretty sure there's all the multiplayer stuff is still free. Now you might get something like a T-shirt or whatever that shows that you paid for the Octo expansion, that kind of thing. But I don't see Nintendo fragmenting the online user base like that. I could be wrong, but I feel like the one time that they did that, and I say the one time because a lot of people are going to think of Smash Brothers, but the difference with Smash Brothers was if you bought Ryu and your friend didn't, you could still play with him as Ryu. He just couldn't also play as Ryu. The one time that Nintendo segmented or fragmented their online base was actually with Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U. If you played online and you wanted to play online with people that had the DLC, you excluded everybody who was playing online without the DLC. And it could oftentimes be very hard to find a match. This is a really big problem that the first Titanfall had, where they were releasing paid DLC, and if you wanted to play on any of those maps, it was really hard to find people that had those maps. And so that's why you've seen this big shift of the online components of these online multiplayer games. All that stuff is free, and they just sell you either cosmetic stuff or single player stuff. And so I think this Octo expansion for Splatoon 2 is going to be limited to the single player. So if you're like, hey, I don't have any interest in that whatsoever, you don't have to worry about it. You just play online and you'll be good. But we'll find out more information about that. Now, whether this leak is real or not, we're going to hear about this. So don't have to worry about that. Fire Emblem Memories. Nintendo has already announced that there's going to be a new Fire Emblem game coming out for Switch, so this isn't a huge surprise. I don't think it had a name at the time, so that's going to be interesting. All right, now we're actually going to be at a part of this show where Ned is probably going to have a pretty big opinion on that. So Ned, why don't you tell us what the next thing on the list is?
So the next thing on the list, well, were we talking about Fire Emblem Memories or the other thing?
No, the thing after that.
Okay. So yeah, we know Bethesda. Bethesda has become the kings of milking old franchises, but it's the 10th anniversary of Fallout 3. And this list includes a Fallout 3 Anniversary Edition on the Switch with trailer and gameplay footage. Now,
which would be cool.
Yeah.
We don't know if this is a remaster, if this is just a rebundling of the original game for Switch. A couple of things I found interesting, though, and some things I've noticed, because I try to keep up with the mod scene for Fallout 4 a bit. There was a mod for Fallout 4 called Capital Wasteland that was basically a group of mod developers who are trying to re-implement Fallout 3 in Fallout 4's engine. And they'd gotten really far into it. Spoilers for a 10-year-old game here.
Yeah.
They had the whole sequence where you meet up with Lion's Pride and fight your way to Galaxy News Radio and then had to fight the Super Mutant Behemoth. They had re-implemented that entire section of the game as a demo.
Okay.
For the mod. And they got that far, and then just recently they had to put the mod on indefinite hold because Bethesda told them, even though they'd been largely supportive of up to this point, that no, we're sorry, you can't use the original voice acting in your mod. And so they've had to put the mod on hold, and the fact that this is popping up now only a couple months later kind of indicates to me why they might have done that. Because if we really are getting a remaster of Fallout 3, then it would make sense that they wouldn't want anything interfering with that.
Mm-hmm. And I kind of agree. I'm not the biggest fan of most of Bethesda games, although I did watch the trailer for Rage 2, and that looks freaking awesome. I might go pick
It
that
does.
up.
It looks pretty
It looks
cool.
crazy over the top.
Yeah, and I keep telling myself to go get Doom for Switch, and I hear the Wolfensteins are really good, which I guess those aren't actually
Doom is
developed.
so good. You need to go get Doom.
But I guess to be fair, those aren't actually developed by Bethesda; they're just published by Bethesda. So, but anyway, but yeah, I am aware that Bethesda is generally very, very encouraging of their modding community, even if what is being modded is you've basically taken one of our old games and just shoved it into a new game. So, like Ned, I find it very strange that Bethesda would tell these guys, hey, you can't do this, unless, of course, their reason is we're going to be selling a 10th anniversary version of the game. Now, Ned, you probably know, has a 10th anniversary for this game been announced, like, for anything?
Not to my knowledge, but Bethesda's been real cagey this year about their E3 presentation.
Mm-hmm.
They've a lot of the you might have guessed, I'm a big fan of Bethesda games. I mean, I stream Fallout 4 on Tuesday nights for the CrossForge Gaming Twitch channel every week, so you can guess that. There's a number of Bethesda channels I follow, Bethesda fan channels, ESO, Fudge Muppet, Camelworks, the like.
Fudge Muppet.
Yes, that is a real channel, and they are a Bethesda-focused fan channel.
Please tell me it's Muppets made of fudge. Please.
Sadly, no.
Do me this favor.
But
Oh, the biggest disappointment of 2018.
anyway, they have noted that the only thing that Bethesda hasn't announced up to this point is they've announced all the other games that are produced by all their studios except for one, and that is Bethesda Game Studios themselves. There is a slot that has been put in the Bethesda E3 presentation from Bethesda Game Studios, but there's no name attached to it. It's just been listed in the E3 information as an action-adventure title, which basically everything Bethesda produces is an action-adventure title.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah.
So there's basically been two schools of thought about it. One is that for a while, Bethesda has had a trademark on an IP called Starfield, which is supposed to be basically this outer space science fantasy-ish adventure game along the lines of Skyrim in space, at least from what we've been told and what rumors have filtered out about the IP. So the consensus seems to be probably this new game is going to be Starfield, whatever it winds up being called, because Starfield is just the code name. The other contingent is, given this leak about the Fallout 3 anniversary for Switch, that maybe this new game that's coming out is in fact Fallout 3 anniversary for all platforms, and it's just it happened to leak out on the Switch first.
Right. Interesting.
So there's a lot of rumor, a lot of speculation, not a lot of data.
Mm-hmm. I know in the past, Bethesda's press conferences has been first. Are they first again this year?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll probably find out then, which I think that might be well, I know in the past when these Bethesda games have been coming out for Switch, Nintendo has always been the source of the reveal. So like Skyrim on Switch was during that real brief Switch trailer that we got the November or December before the Switch came out. When I'm almost positive, I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive that Doom and Wolfenstein were both revealed during Nintendo things, and then later Bethesda elaborated on it. So I will say, if for some reason the Bethesda press conference goes through and Fallout 3 Anniversary is not at it, I would find that to be strange, but I would still hold out for the Nintendo Direct before I said, well, it must not exist.
Yeah.
So,
And it is the 10-year anniversary of Fallout 3. Fallout 3
Yeah.
came in
So it makes sense.
2008, so having an anniversary edition would make sense.
I'm assuming that the answer is yes, but Bethesda makes their own game engines, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas were based on the Gamebryo game engine, and that engine was completely overhauled and remade for Skyrim and renamed the Creation Engine. And both Skyrim and Fallout 4 are on heavily modified versions of the Creation Engine.
Well, there you go. So be looking out for that. I think there's a pretty high probability that whether it gets announced at the E3 or not, that this is a thing. All right. Yoshi's Flippin' Island. Come on. So this is the game that this is a game we already know about. It's very cardboard like, which now that I'm thinking about it, that's really weird with that whole Labo thing that just came out. So and actually I actually hope that we get more Labo stuff at E3 because I have the variety kit and the robot. I've only put together the remote control car and the fishing rod, and I'm waiting for my son to get down here for the summer before we put the rest of them together. But with just those two things, I had a blast. I think it's really fun, and I can't wait to break into the rest of it. So I hope we get more Labo stuff. But anyway, Yoshi's Flippin' Island is if that's what it's called. It's developed by Goodfeel, who does such a stinking good job of their games. The first game of theirs, at least that I know of that I played, was Kirby's Epic Yarn. Kirby's Epic Yarn was good, but it was stupid easy, like you expect a Kirby game to be. Right. And then Yoshi's Woolly World comes out. The game is beautiful and it's unforgivingly difficult. It is if we're gonna run with that stupid meme, it is the Dark Souls of Yoshi games. It is the Dark Souls of Nintendo games, for that matter.
Really?
It's just so utterly difficult.
See, I haven't played it. I probably should.
It's so good. In fact, I hope that because Yoshi's Woolly World was stuck on the Wii U, that they announced that when, like, if you pre-order Flippin' Island or whatever they call it, that you'll get a digital copy of Woolly World. It's just it's so stinking good. But even if they're not going to give it to you, put it up on the eShop. I'll pay $40 for it. Heck, I'll pay $60 for it. It was that stinking good, and more people need to play it. And considering that Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze made it over, which I double dipped on that too, and it was really good. Captain Toad, you have no idea how happy I was when they announced Captain Toad was coming to Switch in June. I about lost my flipping mind. No, I didn't mean to but yeah, because hey, look, I'm telling you right now, call me crazy, I don't care. Captain Toad is so good that if the only thing that it was on was Wii U, I would tell you, go to GameStop, drop the $150 or whatever it costs to get a used Wii U and get Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. It's so awesome. Anyway, we're not talking about Captain Toad. Yoshi's Flippin' Island. I'm gonna get it. It looks awesome. Goodfeel is an amazing developer. Everything about the games, from the aesthetic to the music to how, even though Yoshi's Woolly World was stupid difficult, the controls were very simple. Like anybody could pick it up and play it. And it's amazing. So I'm excited for this, no matter what they call it. I still don't think that's the name, but maybe they'll surprise me. All right. Pokemon Let's Go. There's been a lot leaked about this. And if we have time later, which we are going a little late, so we might not, but we'll talk more about this. If we don't get more into it this episode, we'll talk about another episode. But there's a lot of controversy around this one. Now, I know Nolan and I are both big Pokemon fans. Yes. Ned, where do you fall on the Pokemon on a scale of I don't give a crap at all to give me all 600 and something Pokemon in the form of a plush toy. Where are you?
First of all, Gen 1er for life.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I've been playing Pokemon since the originals came out in the States.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I have played every game except I'd never had a copy of. Dang it, I can't remember the one it's called. It's the one, it was the third version for the 4th generation. You had Diamond and Pearl.
Platinum.
And
Platinum, yeah.
I have never played Platinum, so that's the only one I have not played.
Okay.
So you've got a 3DS then?
I do have a 3DS.
I don't think I knew that about you. All right.
I have X, Y, Sun, Moon, and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. So
Well, not like this is like a scandal or anything. I didn't know this about you. Like, not only do you like Pokemon, but you like it enough that you buy both copies of every generation, at least for a while. So, I mean, I don't even do that.
Well, admittedly, what I'll usually do is I'll buy the copy that has the legendary I want, and then I'll usually buy the other one later for cheap from someone used.
No, okay. But hey, you're still spending more money on it than I am. So there you go. Assad, where do you fall on the Pokemon fandom?
Well, I kind of dropped off after Silver because I didn't have another Nintendo system, like up until like the Wii U and the 3DS, and I never got around to getting another one. So I enjoyed playing Pokemon a lot, but without access to it, I just kind of fell off.
Mm-hmm. Well, as an old curmudgeon, I can tell you that Sun and Moon, even though I didn't finish them, and the only reason I didn't finish them was because like 3 months after I got it, the Switch came out, and now that's just all I play. But Sun and Moon are and I haven't played the Ultra version of those two. They're the best ones to have come out in a long time. And I hadn't I liked X and Y enough. I really liked Black and White and Black and White 2. But I wasn't like there's some in the series that I'm not crazy about. And my biggest complaint with the changes that they've made, even with Sun and Moon, have actually been aesthetically. I don't think that the 3D, and I don't mean like the 3D on the 3DS, like it's actual 3 dimensions. And actually, the Pokemon games don't really use it except in battle and just occasionally, because I don't think Sun and Moon was 3D at all. I'm actually talking about like the polygonal characters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just don't think it works for the series. I really wish they would go back to it being sprites. Now, that's not to say because the DS ones, Black and White and Diamond and Pearl and Platinum, well, maybe not Diamond and Pearl and Platinum, but definitely Black and White. Like the environments were this kind of pseudo 3D.
It was like the first 3D. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was the the kind of partial, and it was just
but but not all the characters were still sprites. And then when everything moved into actual like polygons and stuff, I don't know. It didn't work for me, and I hated looking at it. But another huge part of that was I feel like for a while now, most of the Pokemon that they make are just very uninspired and even ugly, and I hate them. and there's a rumor going around that this Pokemon Let's Go, that it's going to be a reboot. Now I don't know what they mean by reboot, but if what they mean is we're going to go back to the OG 150, 151, slowly start reintroducing some of the good Pokemon from more recently. So getting rid of what's that stupid thing that's a vanilla ice cream cone?
That's the exact one I was thinking of.
I was going to say Vanillux.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember its name because it's not important.
Why does that exist? It's dumb. Stop it. Get some help. Whoever's drawing these things. So
what you do is you get a Pokemon with the lick attack and just keep licking it until it goes away.
Like, come on. So that's what I'm hoping they do. I don't know, but there's some controversy over this because a lot of people are, I think, mostly assuming because the word "Go" is in it that it's going to somehow tie in with the Pokemon Go game. Now, I don't necessarily think that just equals something bad. I think it could be done well. And also, I think it would be interesting because Nintendo's always said from the beginning, and keeping in mind, Nintendo doesn't actually have anything to do with the development of Pokemon Go. They simply are an owner in the Pokemon company. But, Mario Run doesn't do anything with another Mario game. Fire Emblem Heroes doesn't connect to a Fire Emblem game. Animal Crossing Pocket Camp doesn't connect to an Animal Crossing game, probably mostly because Nintendo hasn't made one for Switch yet. Come on, Nintendo, really want this. But so Pokemon Go interacting with Pokemon, that's seems like it'd be kind of the whole point of getting in the mobile game in the first place. So, and Pokemon Go's free, so whatever. I don't know. What do you guys think? If do any of y'all play Pokemon Go? First of all.
They used to when it first came out, and then
I used to.
They changed how you find Pokemon, and it I don't play it anymore. It just upset me so much.
I will. So, Pokemon Go, I do play it on occasion. Like there's a park near where my apartment is that has a couple of gyms and actually has some pretty decent catch rates.
Mm-hmm.
And so every once in a while, like every couple of weeks or so, I'll just go take a walk and play it then. But my big thing with Pokemon Go, and the thing that really irritates me about it, is if you ever played Niantic's first game, Ingress.
Mm-hmm. I did. It was really good.
Pokemon Go is basically slapping a Pokemon skin over Ingress. Because if you go find the old Ingress maps, the Pokestops and everything are exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. My biggest frustration with it was, they keep adding generations of Pokemon, which that's great. I love having more Pokemon to catch, but something that has been a staple of the series since the first one back in, what was that, 96 or something? Trading.
98.
And you can't do that. I kind of get the battling not being part of it because battling is already reduced to a simple mini game that's almost not worth participating in the first place. But the trading and you have an opportunity to be able to trade from your phone with anyone on the planet, and you haven't introduced this yet. Like, what are you doing?
Especially when you have region-specific Pokemon like Kangaskhan. I'm not ever going to get to be able to go to Australia to get a Kangaskhan.
Right. It's not going to happen. So that if they would do that, I would probably get back into it. And now I will say the reason why I stopped playing it actually had nothing to do with the game itself. I had a Nexus 5 that I loved. Still to this day, my favorite phone that I've ever had. The only reason that I stopped using it was because Google stopped updating it with updates because it's like a 5-year-old phone at this point or something. I actually still have it because I'll use it like as an MP3 player if I don't want to carry my phone around with me for some reason. But so I ditched it, still in a drawer in my house, and got this LG Android phone. And the GPS on that stupid thing never worked. I could be standing on a Pokestop and my avatar would be just outside of where it thought I was close enough to be able to use it. And this happened constantly. And it wasn't just the Pokemon Go app having trouble with the GPS. Like I could open Google Maps and it would do the same thing. Or any other thing that was location based. It's just for whatever reason, the GPS chip in that phone did not work right. And I remember getting online and discovering that this is just a problem with his phone. So it wasn't like me taking it back to T-Mobile and being like, hey, give me another one was going to help. So, and that made playing Pokemon Go not fun because I would go out with my wife and my kid and other friends, and they're getting gyms and they're getting Pokestops and stuff, and I just couldn't, even though I'm standing right. And like trying to trick it into thinking I was where I wanted it to be never worked. It just, I don't know what it was. So I stopped playing, and then I got this new phone, which I actually really, really like. It's my second favorite phone that I've ever had, right behind the Nexus 5. It works really well. The GPS works great on it, but I had been kind of out of the Pokemon Go game for so long that I just never got back into it. So that's that. Assad, did we ask if you play? I forget.
I am, basically Nolan. I played when it first came out, and I played for a while, and then it just got to the point where it was just sitting unused on my phone, taking up space, and I was like, you know what, I'm done. And then I just deleted it.
Just got rid of it. Yep. So anyway, if it does have integration with the next Pokemon game, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think it's a good marketing tool, especially if they do it in a way that it doesn't super affect. I just realized that was a pun and I didn't mean to. As long as it doesn't like really affect the game. Like if playing the Switch game dramatically affected your experience in Pokemon Go, I think that would be cool. But it going the other way, I don't think that's a good idea. I think they should stay as far away from that as they possibly can. And I think Nintendo's smart enough to know that if anything, like you unlock some sort of aesthetic, kind of like when you could combine, or not combine, but make the original Metroid Prime and Metroid Fusion talk to each other, but all you really got out of it was a skin. Well, I guess in one of them you unlocked playing the original Metroid, so that was kind of cool. But anyway, that's just my thoughts on that. Okay, now we're getting into territory that is completely rumor. No idea, because none of this stuff I have been able to find sources saying one way or the other if this is true. But if they are true, I'm super excited for them. F-freaking-Zero.
Yeah.
F-Zero, it's called on here SX. According to them, it's being developed by Platinum Games, which I think is fantastic. If Platinum does anything good, it's fast. It's stuff going fast. And actually, Sega developed the last F-Zero game, which was F-Zero GX and the arcade version of it, F-Zero AX. It was amazing. It was the best F-Zero game that there is. Granted, there are only like 3 others, and one of them's on either Game Boy Advance or the original DS. I don't remember, but I do remember that it's not that great. But the one on the Super Nintendo, the first one, is good for what it is. And F-Zero X on the N64 is fantastic. In fact, my only complaint with F-Zero GX is that it doesn't have the death race mode from F-Zero X on the N64. And if any of you are like, I don't know what that is, you're on this loop, but not a, remember, we're F-Zero, so it's a loop that goes upside down, not one that is just a big circle. Right. And it's you and I believe 100 AI controlled cars, and the goal is to kill all the rest of them before one of them kills you. And I kept thinking like, dude, imagine that online. Oh my gosh. You and I, like, so it's
so much.
It's basically, it's PUBG before PUBG, but you're in a car.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
It's a battle royale mode.
Yes. But it was the OG battle royale, because this was on the N64. It was awesome. So Platinum Games developing an F-Zero game, that would be amazing. It would hopefully allow us to continue to forget Star Fox Zero. That was such a bad game. It's a game I really wanted to like too. But
That's
anyway,
not the worst game I've played, but yeah.
Well, sure, it's not the worst
I never
game
finished
I've played, but worst game I've played is Skyrim. Oh, just kidding. No, for as much as I don't like Skyrim, it's a well-built, designed game, and I can't say that it's bad. It's just not my cup of tea. Okay. So yeah, that'll be really cool. This one, again, nothing can I confirm that it's going to happen, but this is actually the one thing on here that hasn't been confirmed yet that would not surprise me in the tiniest bit whatsoever, and that is Fortnite for Switch.
And I should be surprised, but then again, they put it on your phone on freaking mobile, so which apparently runs better.
I think you might be thinking PUBG. PUBG mobile runs better than
is that what it was? Oh, okay.
Yeah, than the Xbox and PC version.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's an Epic Games property. It's run on the Unreal Engine. Unreal, as we discussed earlier in the show, is designed very well to run on the Switch. So getting Fortnite running on the Switch is a no-brainer. And not only that, but Nintendo has already, with other games like Minecraft and Rocket League, they're totally in on the cross-network play, and that's actually a big part of Fortnite, unless you have a PlayStation. Every time we talk about cross-network play, I am going to take the opportunity to scold Sony. Sony, you're mean. Don't be like that. You should be better than this. So that doesn't surprise me at all. Oh, dude, could you imagine motion control aiming in Fortnite?
That would be cool.
That would be tight.
I don't know. Motion control aiming in every other system doesn't seem like it has ever worked very well. Granted, motion control on the Switch is a lot better.
Well, even
than anything else. But
did you play Metroid Prime 3 on Wii?
I had it for a little bit. I didn't really get to play it though.
Dude, I told myself after that if I could get away with never playing a first-person shooter not like that I would never. It was amazing. And Nintendo does a really good job with it on Splatoon. Now, the one thing I don't like about Splatoon... Okay, so a little history of first-person shooter motion controls. The first really big game that did it on the Wii, there is a really, really awful port of Call of Duty 3 that's on the Wii. Aside from the fact that it doesn't look as good as Call of Duty 3 on the 360 and the PS3, and I mean, I'm assuming it came out on PC, but I don't actually know.
It did.
Okay. Aside from it not looking as good, not sounding as good, they had the motion controls, but it operated like it does on PC. So you got the mouse and your little aiming reticule, and the mouse and the aiming reticule are tied together, and their aiming reticule is always in the center of the screen. So if you move the mouse even that much, the whole screen shifts over, not just the aiming reticule. This is how it was on Call of Duty 3 for Wii. And of course, your mouse is sitting on a desk. As long as you're not touching it or not moving it, nothing's moving. But your hand is not perfectly still. So every tiny little movement that your hand made while playing this game was moving the screen. And it was awful. Well, like a year or two later, The Conduit came out. Now, The Conduit was supposed to be an amazing game that turned out to be a hot tire fire. It was just awful game. But one thing that they did was everything about the game was customizable, including what they referred to as the dead zone in the middle of the screen. So any movement that your hand did within this dead zone would move the aiming reticule, but it didn't move the screen until you got to the edge of the dead zone, and then it would move. So that solved the screen shaking problem. But the problem that it introduced was, in order to be able to turn even at all, you had to go, to the extremes of your television screen. Right. Metroid Prime 3 solved this problem by completely eliminating the dead zone, but the amount that your screen moved increased the further away you got from the center of the screen. So if you're just moving like this, the screen's still technically moving, but it's moving so slightly, you probably don't notice it. But the further you got away from the center of the screen, the faster Samus would turret. And it felt so stinking good to the point that I was like, I never want to play another first-person shooter unless I can play it like this. Unfortunately, that just wasn't a reality because that was the Wii, and first-person shooters didn't really come out on the Wii. So yeah, if Epic Games did that with the Joy-Con, and they did it right. Now I realize Fortnite is not first-person; it's third-person, but it's got the same kind of controls. So, but anyway, this is one that I think is a no-brainer. And it doesn't surprise me whatsoever. I think it'll be more surprising to me if we don't see it at E3 than if we do. All right, this last one is kind of weird because on one hand, I got really excited about it, and then I heard more information about it, and I got less excited about it. So, Retro Studios, we haven't known for a while what they've been working on, although it did come out after Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze for Switch was released, that Retro Studios handled that port, which is kind of weird because usually big studios like that hand that off to some port house and let them handle it. Now, I seriously doubt they had a full team working on it, but it's weird that they handled the port themselves. But they're supposedly working on a new Star Fox game.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. This is great. Every classic series that Retro Studios has gotten their hands on has been amazing. There's a little caveat with this. Supposedly, it's a racing game in the same vein of Diddy Kong Racing.
Now,
listen. If Star Fox Zero hadn't been as bad as it was, let's say it was good. This was the return of Star Fox that we had all been waiting for. A spinoff series wouldn't bother me. Sure, make a racing game. I've had my Star Fox fill. But Star Fox Zero was Star Fox Zero. And now you're going to give me this? Why?
I don't know. I mean, I could kind of get behind this in the aspect of that'd be funny to be like racing around in Landmasters because that just sounds funny to me. Like, yes, okay. Also in the R-Wings up in the air, but just the idea of a Landmaster
chicken walkers on the ground
going turbo, just like, yeah, or like, and like, yeah, just the idea of a Landmaster hitting a turbo and just like, I don't know, like, and being able to like shoot like that, that'd be cool. But I mean, I don't know how well that would actually work though, because I mean, the other thing is like you say like a racing game with Star Fox, and for what the thing that comes to mind more than anything else, I don't know why, is Superman 64. That invokes in my head. So I'm like,
oh man!
So instantly you said, I'm like,
man, you kind of went dark with that one.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know,
but I'm going to take over Patty's role here for a second and be the contrarian.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What you got?
I want to see another Star Fox Adventures game.
Be down. I like Star Fox Adventure. I like.
That's fair.
Zelda Star Fox Edition.
I mean, to be fair, I haven't played that, so I can't say that it's bad.
I enjoyed it. It's not a Star Fox game in the normal sense, but it was a fun game.
Yeah.
And I really liked Assault. That was like, I would play the multiplayer with Assault all the time.
So
I would be all over an Assault sequel.
Yeah.
Star Fox Assault, the parts where you're in the R-Wing were awesome.
Yeah.
Every other part of that game,
not as much.
Was like what it was like. In Sonic Adventure, you have Sonic, and that was fun. And then you had the other 4 parts of this game.
Go be Rouge and Knuckles and go look for the Chaos Emeralds buried.
Right. Like, what are we doing here? So, so I don't know. Now, again, I will say I do think it's true that Retro Studios is working on a Star Fox game, because this document is not the first rumor that I've heard about Retro Studios working on Star Fox. So I think that's true. The part about it being a racing game is the part where I'm like, I don't know if that's actually a thing. But maybe it is. Who knows? We'll find out. If it's a racing game in the vein of Diddy Kong Racing, and those of you who didn't play Diddy Kong Racing or don't know what we're talking about, first of all, Diddy Kong Racing is kind of famous for being the first game to have Conker in it.
Yeah.
You got to remember this was a rare game. It had Banjo and Kazooie in it, and if I remember correctly from Original Gamers Podcast, was that the first? Did that come out before the first Banjo Kazooie did? Because if it did, that would have been the first use of Banjo. Now he didn't have Kazooie in his backpack.
I don't know.
He did, but he just didn't let him out.
He's just stuck in there. I'm not even sure Banjo was wearing a backpack at all in Diddy Kong Racing.
I don't know.
Vehicle. Maybe it was in the trunk.
Maybe.
It just.
But then you also had characters that were supposed to be in their own games, like Timba, the tiger. There's Tip Tup or whatever he's called, the tortoise.
Yeah.
They were all supposed to be in their own games, and then anybody who knows the history of Rare started having trouble getting games out. They really wanted, because Nintendo owned a majority stake in the company, but they didn't outright own the company. Similar to Retro Studios. Nintendo owns a majority stake in Retro Studios, but they don't outright own Retro Studios. Rare had wanted Nintendo to buy them out for a very long time. Nintendo, for whatever reason, decided not to, and
then we got nuts and bolts.
Yeah. And then, so while Rare's looking for a buyer, Microsoft's like, hey, we'll buy you and we'll get the rights to Perfect Dark and Conquer and these other great games in your series. And then we'll make you make Kinect games. And that worked out real well for them. Although they did just release Sea of Thieves, which I hear, if you're into that kind of game,
being a pirate and
really good.
That nature.
Right. Oh, dude, I want to get that game, not do anything. And when people are like, what are you doing? I'm a pirate.
Nothing. I'm a pirate.
Do it.
Yo ho fiddle dee dee.
Yeah.
On the Banjo situation, Diddy Kong Racing did in fact come out before Banjo Kazooie.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So introduced a lot of rare characters.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that. Yeah, so that's that leak. And stuff. Now I want to get to the other leak, which it's actually a lot of repeat information. So we won't spend a whole lot of time on it, but there is some other information on this. So you got smashed. So this is the Treehouse rundown. So if you've been following Nintendo at E3 for a while, many years ago they stopped doing the really big press conference, which everybody said they were crazy for doing. And honestly, ever since they started doing it, I'm like, I kind of wish Microsoft and Sony would do this, because Microsoft will get up there and talk for an hour and a half, and 45 minutes of it will be stuff I don't give a crap about. But Nintendo has managed to condense their E3 presentation into between 30 and 45 minutes, and it's just wall to wall, mostly stuff that I care about. Occasionally they'll have a little skit that's in there that just doesn't land real well. But they keep the stuff coming, and it's really good and it's really polished, and I like it. So what do you,
I just realized that I have a staff meeting and a whole entire staff day on the day that this comes on out. E3, Nintendo's E3 time.
That sucks.
I'm like,
for you.
That's unfortunate.
I mean, I'm sure I have to work all day too. So, anyway, so we got so after the video, then they go into what they call their Treehouse event, and the Treehouse is their in-house like promotional team, and it's a lot of people who they just play games. They spent the year before the Switch and Breath of the Wild came out. Treehouse was nothing but Breath of the Wild, just over and over and over again. Breath of the Wild, it was amazing. It was a really good way to kind of, showcase the game. Last year they had a lot of Splatoon, a lot of Mario Odyssey, and other big games were coming out. So it's really cool, and I like the way they do it. So here's the rundown for June 12th. So this is just one day of Treehouse. So they got Smash Brothers. There'll be character reveals. random matches showing some of the characters and the mechanics and some new amiibos. New amiibo.
New Amiibo
Amiibos.
showcase.
But then, interestingly, they
Yeah.
have The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening 3D.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
That's cool.
I mean, I don't know how to feel about it, but I'm
Well,
excited in general. I don't know
I
what
like-
it's going to be.
it's cool that because they did Ocarina of Time and then they did Majora's Mask. So this will be the first time that they've taken a 2D game, a 2D Zelda, and turned it into 3D, which I think will work really well because no matter what you think of the visual aesthetic of what was the Link to the Past 2 called? Link Between Worlds.
That's what I was
Yeah.
about to say. I'm like, hold on a second, you.
Yeah. But no matter what you think of the aesthetic of that, like, because some people are like, Link looks like a bunch of sausages put together. That top-down, that top-down 3D thing worked really, really well. And
Yeah.
I think with the characters, especially if they keep them sprites, has anybody here played like they took some NES games and put them on 3DS and they put them in 3D? Like Kirby's
Yes,
Adventure.
yeah, Kirby Adventure. Yes,
right. They look gorgeous.
yes, they do.
Yeah, and so if they do that, if they keep the game's sprites, but in 3D, I think that'll look really cool, and it might be a good enough reason for me to pick my 3DS back up and try, because Link's Awakening is such a good game.
So good. It is so good.
Now, I have it on my 3DS. It's the Game Boy Color version.
Yep, Link's Awakening DX.
DX.
I'm wondering if I should just wait until the 3D one comes out, knowing myself.
Probably.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, it's yeah. It would be worth it because I have like a hard copy of DX somewhere in my collection of Game Boy games.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I have a digital copy on my 3DS as well.
Yeah.
So it's like it's yeah, I would say.
Yeah. So who knows? And it'll. I mean, I'm sure that means it's on 3DS. And everybody will be like, "Why isn't it on Switch?" And it's just it is what it is.
Not enough people.
Why was Detective Pikachu on the 3DS? Why wasn't it on the Switch?
Also true. And why wasn't it voiced by Danny DeVito?
Too expensive, probably.
Probably. Whatever. Nintendo's rolling in money. And let's be honest, Danny DeVito, like that guy, he's not doing anything.
It was Ryan Reynolds they got to voice that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, did he really?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Whoa,
I didn't
hold on.
hear about this.
What are you talking about? Hold on.
Detective
I'm opening a tab.
Pikachu is voiced by Ryan Reynolds.
Oh my. Okay, no. So you want to talk about too expensive?
Hold on.
He would be
Hold
too
on.
expensive.
Hold on a second.
Or wait, am I getting him mixed up with Nolan North? Because
No, I think you're
Probably
right.
okay. Probably Nolan North. They were both Deadpools. That's fair. Because Nolan North did the voice for Deadpool in the game.
Okay, there is here.
Where is that? Yeah, I need to.
There. So apparently, according to the Hollywood Reporter, Ryan Reynolds is supposed to be in the movie Detective Pikachu. So maybe that's where that came from.
I don't hear any voice acting.
Okay, yeah.
No,
this is
No, it says
and-
Detective Pikachu on the cast list.
I think that is Nolan North. Oh my gosh.
Wow. Sorry, I had to do that.
Wow.
That's-
I need to get this game though too. I also
Yeah.
don't have that game. I need to get that.
I don't have it either. All right, moving on from
Anyway, yeah.
Link's Awakening 3D. So we have Star Fox. Oh, by the way, the Star Fox game, according to this, is called Lilat System, which honestly I think is a weird name for a racing game, unless you're racing across the entire Lilat system.
I don't know. If you look at the description, it doesn't sound like a description for a racing game.
Gameplay of the new flight systems, NPC interaction, inside mission, and Corneria. You're right. That does not unless
maybe
unless it's a Diddy Kong racing style racing game, which did have a campaign.
Okay.
So
Maybe.
Stop crushing my dreams.
Well, hey, I'm crushing my own dreams here. So
Stop crushing your own dreams.
then we have, a level showcase for Splatoon 2 Octo expansion. We have exploring the surface of a planet. Oh yeah, here we go. A fight against a renegade Chozo in Metroid Prime Renegade. Yoshi's Flippin' Island. Gonna laugh every time I say that. You know what? Now
It sounds like you're just super upset. You're like, "Where's my Super Nintendo? I'm gonna play Yoshi's Flippin' Island."
I tell you, if that's not the name of this game now, I'm so mad.
When you're in the Discord and it's a Christian channel.
And that stupid flipping baby. So level showcase co-op mode functionality. If the amiibo functionality is anything like it was in Woolly World, it's just skins for Yoshi.
Yeah.
Then Fire Emblem Memories gameplay of second mission of the game. Introduce the new characters and look, new characters for them to shove in Smash Brothers. That's what we want.
Awesome. I am down with new characters always.
No, especially if they're all just Marth, but different.
Yeah.
You're
Now
not
there's
wrong,
two
actually.
different Marths.
Yeah. The Luigi's Mansion. So this is the 3DS remake of the GameCube game. I'm assuming they're talking about gameplay of the first hour of the game, first quarter of the new boss rush mode. Gameplay of the first hour of the game. I feel like the game is only like 6 hours long. So you're going to show us this 1/6 of your game. That's
Now, is it
weird.
going to be like Dark Moon or is it going to be like the original? Because I mean, the
Well,
original...
this is a port of the original for 3DS. That's already.
Oh, is that what it's doing?
Yeah, and that's what this is.
Oh, well, that's kind of dumb.
I was well, see, I was like, why wouldn't you put this on Switch? But they already have. I mean, because of Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, they already have all the assets and the controls and stuff like that. So
Yeah, but still,
I'm assuming that's why. It's easy to do. So
Probably.
not. But yeah, I wish it was on Switch because that game's really good. If you haven't played, I haven't played Dark Moon, but the first one is fantastic.
Now, on the other hand,
it's longer.
Yeah. What, Assad?
I was gonna say, on the other hand, if they're not porting it to the Switch, that says to me that they're working on a new one.
That is something that I considered.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, speaking of, if you're wondering why 3DS is still getting games, Nintendo has said officially, and I don't remember what the setting was, like if it was an interview or I feel like they would have had their end of the year earnings call pretty recently, so maybe it was in that. But they have said that unless the Switch becomes a one console per person sort of thing, like their dedicated portables are, they intend to continue to support the 3DS. They didn't say anything about making a successor to it, and I would be surprised if that was ever in the cards.
I doubt it. I mean,
yeah, but until they have evidence that people are buying like multiple Switches for their house, which I think is a thing that if it's not happening already is going to happen very soon. I mean, I, for one, every time I leave the house and I want to bring the Switch, my wife gives me a dirty look because she wants me to leave it at the house. So we're eventually going to buy at least one for her. And I do have every intention of also buying one for my son. So we'll have 3 in our house.
right.
I do think that they have a better chance of that happening if they would sell a dockless Switch. Because like in my house, I've got the dock in my living room, and I do want a dock in my bedroom hooked up to my PC, so I don't have to keep moving the dock from the living room. But then after that, like Caspian has no reason to have a dock.
Yeah.
He'll play it in handheld mode pretty much exclusively when he's with his mom in Tennessee. And when he's down here with us, if he wants to hook it up to the TV, he just uses the dock that's
One
already
of them that are
here.
already here.
Right. So, I mean, I realize they sell the dock for $90. They're not going to, if they sold one without a dock, I don't think they would take $90 off the price. I think they would take like $50 off the price. But
Yeah.
$250 for a Switch, and the only thing that you're missing is the dock. I mean, I think that would be, even for people who don't have a dock already, I think people would go buy that.
Maybe, I don't know. I think it kind of depends.
Well, yeah, I don't think
It's-
everybody would, but I definitely think there are people out there who would be like, I don't care to have this hooked up to my TV, so I'm just going to I'm going to save myself the $50
Right.
and buy it without the. So there's that. Okay, and then introducing new fighting system and showing the new hub and tournament for Punch Out Become the Champion and that's just the first day of Treehouse at E3. So I think most of this is plausible and even likely. I think the only things that are kind of up in the air here are the existence of a 3D version of Link's Awakening, whether or not Star Fox is a racing game, and the name of Yoshi's Flipping Island.
Yeah.
Giggle every single time I say that. All right, so now I want to know, and I should have asked this earlier, but Ned, with you being the closeted Pokemon fan that I just found out that you are you gonna get a Switch when the new Pokemons come out?
There is a fund set aside for just such an event.
Yes.
Yes.
It's like, I've already got a savings account with $400 sitting in it.
I hope it's not $400. That'd be horrible.
Well, no, to buy the
Collector's
$300.
edition. If you buy the collector's edition, we will give you a Pikachu that we made in a lab.
I mean, he needs $400 because he needs $300 for the Switch, and then
you know what?
the
That's
extra for the Pokemon
Both
game.
versions.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So there you go.
No, I have to. No, it has to be a minimum of $800 because I have to have 2 Switches so that I can have both
So you
games
can
at the
trade
same
with
time
your
and trade with myself.
Yes.
That's great.
Oh my gosh!
Oh.
Do you have 2 3DSs so you can do that?
Actually, no, I don't.
Okay.
No, I've thought about
I
it.
used to. Not for that reason, but
So-
I used to.
So fortunately, since my wife has a 3DS, that's just kind of built into my family that I get that functionality. I don't have to be that weirdo that goes and buys 2 systems for myself so that I can make this happen. Okay. Live read time. We're on YouTube. You're probably watching this on YouTube, so you already knew that. All right, moving on. No, it's getting late, and like I said, I wanted the Thursday night episodes to be short. So